Hi everyone, in this video we are going to continue building our personal finance tracker by exploring the budget data.
You can download the budget Excel in the description. Once you've downloaded it, click on Excel Workbook. Then navigate to your downloaded data. Double click on it. In the subsequent window, choose Sheet 1. It can be utilized in PowerBI. I have my previous Duke's expenses. Let's begin by renaming my new Sheet 1 as Duke's Budget. Budget Excel, as it is difficult to utilize in PowerBI. We need to make a few adjustments before loading it in our data model. Use expenses, where level 1 to level 4 are columns, and within it are different categories. Use budget, we need to transform it to have similar layout as Duke's expenses, which has level 1 to level 4 corresponding to Cat 1 to Cat 4. I know we do have Cat 1 to Cat 4 over at row 2. But before we can promote it as our headers, we need to remove the first row. We can do so by going to our Home tab and open the drop-down for Remove Rows. Use the first Remove Top Rows option and specify one row to remove. After removing the first row, we'll go to Use First Row as Headers and choose the first option. I notice that I only have January 21 as a column, but the subsequent columns are not February 21 or March 21. 21 stands for 2021. Power Query have misinterpreted the data as date instead of just text. We need to correct our mistake by going to the Change Type step. It is at this step that the columns were recognized as date instead of text. We can correct the mistake by just removing the Change Type step. We will also remove this Change Type step. Scrolling to the right now, I see instead of date, I have the column as in the intended format, which is text. Next, let's unpivot our data. Select category 1 to type column. You can do so by first selecting Cat 1, press Shift button on your keyboard, and then choose Type column. This will highlight all of the columns between Cat 1 to type. After doing so, go to your Transform tab, and within your Transform tab, open the drop-down in Unpivot columns. We'll choose the second option, Unpivot other columns. In doing so, we are left with only 2 columns apart from the 5 columns that we previously selected. Going back to your Promoted Headers tab, scrolling all the way to the right, we have a lot more columns than the next step. That's because these Unpivot columns have changed all of the columns into row values. For the year 2025, Asset Device Computer category have 5 year month where there is budget value. Let's clarify our data by renaming the different columns. Beginning with Cat 1, we'll rename it to have the same pattern as due expenses, namely 2 levels. But we don't need to change anything. For the attribute, we'll name it as 1 year. It seems like we can load our data as it is now. But notice the icon beside the budget, the type, and level 4. Level 1 to 3 also share the same icon. This ABC123 indicates that Power Query hasn't yet determined the exact data type for this column. If the data is now loaded, this column will be treated as text column. We want the budget column to be treated as decimal number column instead, while for the remaining level 1 until type column, we want it to be recognized as text. You can quickly change the data type of multiple columns by selecting all of them using the Shift key, right-clicking on any of the column, and go to Change Type, choose Text. We have completed the data transformation in Power Query. Let's go back to the Home tab and close and apply. Before we link our expenses data with the budget data, let's just explore the budget data. Create a new page by clicking on the plus icon. For this second page, we'll call it Budget. For page 1, we'll rename it as Expenses. We'll bring in a blank matrix visual. In the blank matrix visual, we'll bring in data from Duke's budget, namely level 1 to 4 for rows field well. For columns field well, we'll bring in 1 year and budget values for values field well. I am now able to see Duke's allocated budget of the different months and years. But the column headers are not properly sorted. Because the month-year column is treated as text, it follows the sorting rules of text from A to Z. We need to change the sorting logic. To do so, let's create a calendar table. Go to your table view. In your table view, go to the Table Tools tab and choose New Table. We'll begin by creating a column of dates. Use the text calendar. And we need to specify a start and end date. We can do so by invoking the date text and specify 2021 January 1st as our start date. For our end date, 2031 December 31st. Enclose it in brackets and press enter. Now I have my date column. I notice it's not in the correct data type. We don't want the type. So head over to your data type drop-down top with your date column selected. Open it and choose date data type. Next, we'll create a few calculated columns. Go to your Column Tools tab and choose New Column. For this new column, we'll call it month year. The same month year in our budget data. We'll use Format to change the date into our desired text format. For the values, bring in the date column, referring to this date column. Then, after a comma, we'll type in the format MNNYY, another quotation mark, and a closing bracket. Now I have similar month year, January 21, as Duke's budget. Now that we have our month year column, we need to create another column called month year sort code to change the sorting logic of this column. Go to your column tools and again choose new column. Name it month year sort code. equals year, date, times it by 100, and plus the month of our date. Then press enter. Now, whenever it's the January of the year 2021, it would be 202101. Let's try a different month here. For April 2021, it would be 202104. After creating this sort code, we'll apply it as a sorting logic to month year. Select the month year column and then head to your column tools tab, sort by column option. You will have access to all of the columns in your existing table and will choose month year sort code. Let's return to our report view. The sorting logic hasn't changed because it is still using the month year in Duke's budget table. We need to change it to that of the collectors. But before doing so, we need to establish a relationship between the calendar and budget table so that both fields can be utilized in the same visual. Go to your model view and find the month year column in Duke's budget table. Click and drag it over to the month year of your calendar table. You will then be prompted with this window where we can just press save. We will now select our matrix, remove the month year from the budget table, and use the month year in our calendar table. Month year is now sorted correctly from January to December and also from the year 2024 all the way until the year 2031. Why isn't the year 2021 to 2023 appearing? Back in our table view, for our calendar table, we already specified that it should start in 2021. That's because our visual in Power BI will exclude columns that absolutely have no data. In your Duke's budget table, we initially have 2021 to 2023. Upon closer look at the Excel data, you will notice that there is no budget value at all, even though those columns exist. So when we unpivoted data, it would automatically exclude those tables. But it is actually still possible to display the years 2021 to 2023 in your matrix. With your matrix table selected, right-click on your one-year field. You will have the option to show items with no data. When you check this option, the year 2021 to 2023 will appear. If you go back, right-click and click on the same option again, it would uncheck that option, showing you the previous data. Let's recap what we have learned so far with the budget table. First, in Power Query, we learned how to remove top rows. We learned about unpivoting our columns. We are also reminded to change the type of our columns if they were previously undetermined by Power Query. If you did not change the type of columns with this icon, it will be loaded by default in text. After closing and applying our budget data, we learned how to create a calendar table. The primary purpose of doing so is to change the sorting logic of our month-year column in Duke's budget table. To change the sorting logic, we need a new month-year sort code table, and then selecting year column, we choose the sort code column under the sort by column option. Afterward, to utilize the columns in the calendar table, we went to our model view and established a relationship. Once we've done that, the column headers in our matrix are no longer sorted according to text, but rather according to date. Okay. Next, we'll be linking the expenses data with the budget data and find out at a particular month and in a particular category, did Duke overspend or underspend, and exactly by how much and how many percent. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.